The air at Stamford Bridge was heavy, thicker than the usual spring breeze, as if the stadium itself held its breath. It was April 5th, 2025, and Cole Palmer, Chelsea's the 20, stood in the tunnel, his kit bag slung over his shoulder. Inside, the Shard pulsed, a faint blue glow seeping through the fabric, casting an eerie light on the concrete floor. He'd felt it all day, a hum that wouldn't quit, like a heartbeat not his own. It had been restless since the Spurs match 2 days ago, but tonight it was different. It was angry. Cole's phone buzzed as he waited to step onto the pitch for Chelsea's clash with Newcastle United. A notification from Morgan Rogers, his old mate from Manchester City's academy, had scored for Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest. A 2-1 win at Villa Park, Rogers' goal in the 13th minute, a cool finish assisted by Yuri Tielemans, followed by Daniel Malin's strike 2 minutes later. Forest had pulled one back through Jota Silva in the 58th minute, but their missed chances, 8 shots off by 3 meters, sealed their fate. Villa fans were buzzing, but Cole's blood ran cold. It wasn't the goal that chilled him. It was what Rogers did after. He'd done the cold celebration, arms out, rubbing them like he was shivering. The same move Cole had made his own, the one that started this whole nightmare. Rogers had taught him that celebration years ago, back when they were skinny kids kicking a ball around Wythenshawe alleys, laughing through chattering teeth after a freezing training session. Now, 200 miles away at Villa Park, Rogers had done it again, and the Shard knew. It flared in Cole's bag, blue as death, like it recognized its own. The hum turned to a growl, whispering Rogers' name over and over. Cole's mind raced as he stepped onto the pitch at St. James's Park. Chelsea were 4th in the Premier League, 52 points, clinging to a Champions League spot. Villa sat 7th, 48 points, scrapping for a European place. 2 mates, 2 teams, 1 curse. Cole and Rogers were on a collision course, and the Shard was pulling the strings. The Newcastle crowd roared, but Cole barely heard them. The Shard's growl drowned out everything, a low, menacing rhythm that matched his heartbeat. Something was waking up. The Shard's story went back to Cole's childhood, a memory he'd buried deep but could never escape. He'd been 12, alone on a Wythenshawe pitch, the kind of night where the wind cut like a blade. Fog rolled in, thick as soup, and a figure stepped out, tall, hooded, its voice rasping like gravel over stone. "You want to be untouchable?" it asked. Cole, all grit and no fear, nodded. The figure handed him a shard of ice, sharp and glowing, its surface swirling with blue light. When he grabbed it, his veins turned frost blue for a heartbeat, a searing cold that burned and then faded. From that day, he was different. Goals came easy, defenders froze in his path, and the Shard stayed with him, hidden in a sock drawer, then a locker, always humming when he played. Fast forward to 2023, Chelsea signed him for $42, $5 million, and the Shard came south. Stamford Bridge became his stage, and the curse grew. Every goal, every assist, left a trail of frost. Brighton's keeper fumbled for weeks after Cole's 4-goal haul in September 2024. Arsenal's title chase melted after he scored against them, 7 games without a win, and Spurs just 2 days ago on April 3rd felt it too. Cole's assist in the 89th minute, a pass so cold it froze their back line, let Mudryk slot home the winner, 2-1. Post-match, Spurs keeper couldn't grip a bottle, fingers numb for hours. A fan in the shed end collapsed, whispering, "The ice! It's him!" X lit up. Cold King strikes again. Cole had shrugged it off, eyes glinting like he knew more than he let on. But tonight, as he faced Newcastle, the Shard's growl turned to a scream. Rogers' goal had changed something. The cold celebration wasn't just a gesture, it was the Shard's mark, a signal of its power, and Rogers unknowingly had fed it. At Villa Park, Morgan Rogers was the hero of the hour. His 13th-minute strike had set the tone. Villa went 2-0 up with Malen's goal 2 minutes later, and though Forrest pulled one back, Villa held firm. The crowd chanted Rogers' name, but as he left the pitch, a chill crept up his arms. He'd done the cold celebration out of habit, a nod to his academy days with Cole, but this time it felt different. His hands tingled, then burned, like he'd plunged them into ice water. By the time he reached the dressing room, he couldn't grip his phone. His fingers wouldn't move. That night, Rogers dreamt of a hooded figure. It loomed over him, eyes glinting like glaciers, its voice a hiss that cut through the fog. "You've fed it too," it said, pointing at a glowing shard in its hand. Rogers woke in a sweat, hands ice cold, the echo of the figure's words ringing in his mind. He tried to shake it off, but at training the next day, he couldn't grip a ball. His palms were frostbitten, skin pale and cracked, like he'd been out in a blizzard. The Villa physio was baffled. Frostbite in April? Rogers didn't say a word, but he knew. It was the celebration. It was Cole. Cole was carving up Newcastle at St. James's Park, the Shard's growl settling into a rhythm that matched his heartbeat. In the 67th minute, he laid off a pass to Noni Madueke, another frostbite moment. The Newcastle keeper slipped as he dove, the pitch icing over beneath him, a thin sheen of frost that shouldn't have been there. Madueke buried it, 2-0 Chelsea. The crowd groaned, but Cole felt the Shard flare in his bag, a pulse of blue light that only he could see. It was stronger now, hungrier, and it whispered Rogers' name again. Back in Birmingham, a Villa fan watching Rogers' goal replay on his phone froze, literally. The screen iced over, frost creeping across the glass, and the replay slowed, Rogers' cold celebration stretching into an eerie loop. The fan dropped the phone, swearing he'd never watch Villa again. The Shard's power was stretching, a web of ice connecting Chelsea and Villa, 4th and 7th in the league, climbing the table but at a cost. Cole couldn't shake the feeling as he left Newcastle, a 2-0 win in the bag. The Shard was pulling him, not toward London, but toward Birmingham, toward Villa Park. He and Rogers had been mates since they were kids, sharing dreams of the Premier League back at City's academy. Rogers had taught him the cold celebration, a laugh they'd had after a freezing training session. But now that laugh was a curse, and the Shard was the puppet master. The next day, April 6th, Cole sat in his hotel room, Shard in hand. It glowed brighter than ever, its surface swirling with blue light, and it whispered Rogers' name over and over. Cole's phone buzzed, a text from Rogers. "Mate, something's wrong. My hands, they're not right. Since the Forest game. You know anything?" Cole's stomach dropped. He didn't reply, but he knew. The Shard had found Rogers, and it wasn't letting go. The curse's toll was mounting. Newcastle's keeper had slipped on an icy patch that shouldn't have been there. A Villa fan's phone was still frozen, even after a factory reset. And Rogers, his frostbite wasn't healing. Villa's physio sent him for scans, but Cole knew scans wouldn't find the truth. The Shard was feeding, growing stronger with every cold celebration, every goal, every assist. Chelsea and Villa were climbing, 4th and 7th, 52 and 48 points. But the cost was steep. Cole felt it too, a chill in his bones that wouldn't leave, a shadow stretching behind him that wasn't his own. He dreamt of the hooded figure that night. "It's not just you," it rasped, pointing at the Shard. "It wants more." Cole woke, Shard glowing in his hand, and he knew what he had to do. He had to see Rogers. Brentford was next for Chelsea on April 12th, then West Ham on the 19th, Hammers still shivering from Cole's 4-goal rout last year. Arsenal away on the 26th. The Emirates dreaded him after last season's collapse. But Rogers was the wild card. Would the Shard turn him into a rival, or could Cole save his mate? Cole drove to Birmingham the next morning, the Shard humming in the passenger seat. Villa Park loomed, a fortress of claret and blue, but the air felt heavy as he stepped onto the training ground. Rogers was there, hands bandaged, trying to kick a ball but wincing with every touch. "Cole," he said, voice low. "What the hell's going on?" Cole pulled the shard from his bag, its glow casting blue light across the grass. Rogers's eyes widened. I saw that. In a dream." The shard hummed, louder now, and the air turned cold. A shadow stretched across the pitch, not Cole's, not Rogers'. The hooded figure loomed, its voice a growl. "Two now feed me," it said. "But only one can hold me." Cole and Rogers locked eyes, the shard pulsing between them. Chelsea versus Villa was coming, a showdown not just for points, but for their souls. The training ground fell silent, the Villa players and staff frozen in place, their breaths fogging in the sudden chill. Rogers stepped back, his bandaged hands trembling. "Cole, what is this thing?" he whispered. Cole's grip tightened on the shard, its light searing his palm. "It's a curse," he said, voice low. "It's been with me since we were kids. It makes me untouchable. But it takes. Every goal, every assist, it feeds." Rogers' face paled. "The celebration. I did it after the Forest goal. That's when it started." Cole nodded, the shard's hum growing louder, a rhythm that echoed in his chest. "It knows you now," he said. "It knows us both." The hooded figure's shadow loomed larger, its eyes glinting with hunger. "Choose," it growled. "One to wield, one to fall." Cole's mind raced. He'd seen what the shard could do. Brighton's keeper, Arsenal's collapse, Spurs' fan. But Rogers? He was his mate, his brother from the academy days. They'd shared dreams, shared laughs, shared that stupid celebration. Now the shard wanted to tear them apart. "I won't let it," Cole said, voice steady. "We're in this together." Rogers shook his head, stepping back. "I can't even hold a ball, Cole. This thing, it's killing me." The shard flared, its light blinding, and the ground beneath them iced over, frost creeping up the grass like a living thing. The Villa players scattered, shouting, but Cole and Rogers stood their ground. The hooded figure laughed, a sound like cracking ice. "Together," it hissed. "Then you both fall." The frost spread, encircling them, a ring of ice that shimmered with blue light. Cole felt the shard's pull, a hunger that wasn't his own, and he knew what it wanted. It wanted more goals, more assists, more chaos. But it also wanted a choice, one to wield its power, one to be consumed by it. Cole looked at Rogers, his mate's face etched with pain, and made a decision. "I'll carry it," he said. "I've had it this long, I can take it." Rogers' eyes widened. "Cole, no. You've seen what it does. You can't." But Cole was already moving, raising the shard to the sky. The frost tightened around them, the air so cold it burned, and the hooded figure's laugh echoed across the pitch. "So be it," it growled. The shard's light exploded, a wave of blue that knocked Rogers to his knees, his frost-bitten hands thawing in an instant. But Cole felt the cold sink deeper into his bones, his blood, his soul. When the light faded, the frost was gone, the hooded figure vanished. The Villa players stood at a distance, whispering, their eyes wide with fear. Rogers got to his feet, hands trembling but whole, the frostbite gone. "Cole," he said, voice hoarse. "What did you do?" Cole didn't answer, the shard still in his hand, its glow dimmer now, but heavier. He felt it, a weight that wasn't there before, a hunger that was now his own. Chelsea versus Villa was coming, a clash not just for points but for something darker. Cole and Rogers, 4th and 7th, 52 and 48 points, were climbing, but the shard was climbing faster. What would it take next? Was Cole the Cold King, a legend forged in ice, or a pawn in the shard's game? Was Rodgers free or just a new piece on the board? The Shard's echo lingered, a chilling whisper across the Premier League, and the next match, Brentford on April 12th, would tell.